Hey there, Libra. Welcome to your reading for the week of April 11th. We're going to jump right in here, Libra, and we are going to see what is going on for you at this time. It's pretty interesting. A lot of people have had these cards of like motion, and you have two of them right here. You have literally this card that says motion, and then you have the Eight of Wands, which is also a card of motion, and the Two of Wands. So I kind of feel like this is a good thing because I feel like things are moving forward. Part of me is kind of like thinking that this week Pluto will be going retrograde. And I don't know, like where Pluto is, super heavy energy. We had the, United States Pluto return. And again, Pluto's going retrograde. And I don't know, I feel that for whatever reason, I really can't explain it. I feel like it's leading to progress, or at least people will be able to be making progress at this time. And I kind of like it. Again, I don't really feel, it's kind of weird because I really don't feel like that has to do with the astrology so much, but I kind of feel like the Pluto retrograde is kind of the thing that is maybe the catalyst, right? Like, let's put it that way. And again, it's just something I've noticed in the readings. By the way, this is part one. There will be a part two that is linked in the description down below. But again, you start with this Mars card here, Libra, and it just says motion on it. And clearly there's a lot of motion in your reading. I feel like you're kind of making moves, making progress, getting started on things. I think it is a really good time to get started on things, even though, and by the way, we're kind of like in the Pluto retrograde shadow period, not the actual retrograde itself. But, so I want to make that clear as well. But again, I feel like the shadow period is kind of like kicking it off. And then we're going to be entering into the Mercury retrograde shadow period soon as well. And, so even though we're entering into this time of like Mercury retrograde, what I would say is that if you've been planning something all along, like I always like to remind people, even when we enter into Mercury retrograde, May 10th, right? If you've been planning something, it's perfectly fine to take action during the retrograde if you've been working on it before the retrograde. Even at that, I'm a big fan of making mistakes during retrograde, so I always tell people don't let retrogrades control your life. I feel like it's a perfect time to start something that you are wanting to start. You even have the Eight of Wands, the Hierophant, and the Two of Wands. I kind of get this feeling of something kind of being divinely guided in your life with that Hierophant card, and we'll talk about that in a second. I don't want it to sound like overly dramatic, but, again, I feel like something is divinely guided to work for you. And you have this Eight of Wands. You're like the third or fourth sign where I kind of am feeling that the Eight of Wands is more referring to like a very smooth energy. And again, this is something that is repeated this week, this kind of like very smooth flowing energy. And that's what I get for you here. I feel like that if you're working on a project, a business, or even a relationship, this looks really good for love, by the way. I feel like things are just moving forward or progressing smoothly. That does not mean perfectly, but I feel like for the most part, things are kind of have a nice, smooth flow to them. And really, that's the energy that I've been getting off the Eight of Wands. I get like a divinely guided type of energy off the Hierophant. One thing I think people need to remember with the Hierophant is that he has 3 levels to the crown that's on his head, and they represent the 3 levels of initiation, which are initiation, apprenticeship, and mastery, or really the 3 levels of mastery. But it can also say once you get past those 3 levels, then we go behind the Hierophant. You can see that there is space behind him between those 2 pillars that are behind him. So it's like there's something behind him, right? It's like the next stage or it's graduation or moving past something. I'm noticing a lot of 2 here, right? In your reading, 2 pillars. 2 lovers as well right here. 2 pillars right here on the Four of Wands. It's really 2 sets of 2 wands, right? But it kind of looks like 2 pillars. But I really get the sense that you're kind of passing through a portal. And you have the Two of Wands right here. How could I forget? So 2 pillars, right? I really feel that a lot of you are passing through something with this energy. I just feel like you have to take the lead with the Two of Wands. I really am not getting any of like the traditional stuff with the Two of Wands, what it could represent. It does represent taking the lead, so that is definitely a traditional meaning, but I feel like the lead that you're taking is forward progress here. You're just moving towards something. Even next, you have this Draft Spirit, and it says, see the big picture. I do feel this energy of zooming out this week. I feel like this is true for everybody. So I feel that a lot of you could be, kind of like zooming out and looking at the things that you want. Again, we're entering into this time of Aquarius, like I've talked about a lot. The Aquarius is like the star card. And so I feel it would be a really good time for people to kind of like zoom out and look for their, North Star. The star card can represent your guiding light, your North Star, the thing that you work towards. So it's like kind of like really figuring out what's important to me, meaning you. What's important to me? What do I want my life to look like? Are the things that I'm doing right now fitting into that or not? And I feel like these are the questions that you're kind of asking this week. And again, that is probably exactly what you should be doing according to the astrology as well, Libra. I feel like it's a great time to say, are my actions right now leading me closer to my vision or not, right? And if you don't have a vision, I would get one. You have the Two of Cups, the Lovers, and the Ace of Swords. I really feel for some of you, someone could be confessing their feelings. I kind of am getting some dramatic... Oh, sorry, wrong camera. As always, it's my first day, Libra. But I'm getting some, like, crazy messages here, like undying love, things like that. So, I don't know. Someone could be really confessing their feelings with the Ace of Swords. You could be getting communication with the Ace of Swords. I do feel like the word envelope popping into my head. So I feel like someone could be opening up to you on a deeper level, or someone could be, kind of like expressing themselves to you with the Ace of Swords. I just feel that for some of you. For others, again, if you're not looking for love, even if you are, what I would say is that the Two of Cups can be kind of like you and your higher self. It can be you communicating with yourself. You see this, why can't I get this right today? You see this staff right here in between these two people, and that is the staff of Hermes, and it represents communication. So I really feel that some of you could be communicating with your higher self, and we see that here as well on the Lovers. This right here represents your higher self angel, so or just your higher self in general. And so I feel a lot of you are kind of being guided. You can see these clouds in between the people and the higher self angel, so it can kind of represent not being exactly sure what you should be doing, not being sure, like, the direction. Like, it can be a little cloudy, a little bit murky, needing to trust messages, right? Messages aren't necessarily always clear. Really, I feel like it's very simple for you. I would just, there's so much imagery here in your reading that kind of represents two. Whenever I get these multiple two readings, to me, it always encourages the person I'm reading for to pick the new path in any area of their life, whether it's love, business, money, love, spirituality, whatever you're doing. I would pick the new path, just in general, is what I would say to you. Next, you have this Sunrise card. It says new creative ideas, new ventures, a fresh start. There you go. Something new. And you have this June card. So some of you, something could really be making a lot of progress, or something could be progressing in the month of June. So I feel a lot of progress around that time. That does not mean that you shouldn't be doing something right now. Again, the sun rises. It's popping into my head as something taking time. So it's like you could be working on a project from now until June, but maybe it really gets going in June. But again, that does not mean there isn't going to be progress in between, right? And I feel like people need to kind of realize that. I feel like whenever we're in these times of restriction, like we're in right now, I think we look for that quick escape. We look for that leap, something to solve our problems very quickly. But if we can just be patient and work on something like a solution that takes maybe a little bit of time, it's probably going to last a lot longer. And that's what I'm getting here for you, Libra, where it's like you're not working on a quick fix, you're working on a permanent solution, which I feel like is going to be much, much better for you. You have the Four Cups, the Four of Wands, and the Strength card here in this row. I feel like this Four of Cups is kind of more talking about the maybe disappointments that you've experienced over the past few years, or maybe just, certain disappointments that you've experienced in general. And so everybody's been getting this Four of Cups energy, and I feel like it's kind of like saying that, yeah, there have been a lot of disappointments, but that, we have to keep going. We have to keep pushing forward. And I definitely get that for you here with that Four Cups. The Four of Wands could be marriage. I'm going to talk about love in just a minute, but, I do feel like it could be love, but the Four of Wands is really a card of freedom, and it's a card of being set free. But we have to pass through a portal. We have to pick the new path to be able to experience the freedom on the Four of Wands. These people, they're celebrating on the other side of the Four of Wands, and they're just like super happy and, all this other stuff, but we have to cross through the portal to get to that happiness. So what is the portal for you? I feel like it's a new path, plain and simple. No need to overcomplicate it, right? I feel like it is moving in a new direction. All these cards, even the Ace of Swords, can represent a sacrifice. You have this palm frond on this side of the Ace of Swords, and that palm fronds in the tarot can represent making a sacrifice or kind of like sacrificing something for something else. So I feel for some of you, it's like you're maybe letting go of something from the past so you can have something new. And again, seems to be a very common energy right now. This is probably going to require strength, obviously, with the Strength card. The Strength card is also kind of like a daily practice. It's also something that tells me that you're going for a permanent solution. You're not going for a quick fix. You know, the Strength card is something that she has to practice every single day. She's taming her inner beast, her inner demons, her, her negative self-talk, all those things. That's what this card represents, taming those things inside of you. It doesn't say you're getting rid of them, because we never truly get rid of those things. We just have to learn to work with those feelings and thoughts and all that other stuff. And she's very good at doing it. It's almost like she has tamed her ego. On the negative side of things, by the way, the lion at the top of the Two of Cups can represent someone with too much ego in a relationship that you've been dealing with, but she's kind of like taming her ego here. It doesn't mean she doesn't have an ego. We need an ego to survive. We all have an ego. Every single person I've ever met who says they don't have an ego has the biggest ego I've ever seen in my entire life. So to me, it's kind of like contradictory to say that you can get rid of your ego. I feel like you can tame your ego, and that's what she is doing here. So I feel like that's important for whatever reason for you. So that's like this first part. I do feel like there could be communication very specifically, and I'm going to tell you why. In love, by the way. Again, Eight of Wands, card of communication. Traditionally, the Eight of Wands was the arrows of love. It's basically a card where you could be telling the universe, this is what I want in love, and the universe is responding with a person. Could be a Leo. I feel like Leo shows up in your readings all the time, and you have the Strength card here. It could be any sign. This is a general reading. But I do feel like there is definitely love. And it looks to me like there is solid communication in love. I feel like this person, I think what's standing out to me here, and again, we're going to clarify this in part 2 even deeper. What's standing out to me is I feel like you're attracting a person who has a very clear vision. Like, I feel like they have a plan. It's like they have a plan on how they want their life to go. And so it's like you're definitely attracting a person who is a leader. And again, it doesn't matter what gender you're attracted to here. Could be any gender. But I feel like your plans fit. Those are like literally the words that are popping into my head. It's like you both have a vision. Both visions fit. So it's like you're attracting a person who has a similar vision. I feel like this is a new person, plain and simple. So I don't even think you've met this person yet, if I had to guess. Maybe recently, very, very recently, you've met a new person who has a very clear vision, but for the most part feels very new. So that's part 1. Part 2 is linked up in the description down below.